The opportunity in this movie to make something really like thought-provoking and interesting, I think is super high. The premise is really fascinating.
I think the red flag for the movie will be if it starts off and before they even get into this house,
I don't know if you are spot on or just hyper cynical. So I'm looking up the Heretic trailer right now, dude. Okay, so here is the trailer for Heretic. A24 Productions, go.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. Are you interested in learning about our Savior, Jesus Christ?
Okay.
Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Sister Barnes, and oh my gosh. Are you interested in learning more about the Church of Jesus Christ?
Come on in.
We can't come inside unless another woman is present.
My wife is home.
Good job, missionaries.
You like pie?
Yeah.
My wife has pie in the oven.
I could tell that you are a very spiritually curious person.
I think it is good to be religious, to find your faith in a doctrine you actually believe.
Well, our work here is done.
Now, I will go and check on the pie.
Oh, what's the look on the face? Oh, there's blood spatter on the pie.
Nope.
I mean, on the candle.
No, the candle's blueberry pie, because they realized there wasn't a pie cooking in the other room.
Oh, it's going down.
Can you fit through this? You're crazy.
We just need to go home.
I won't keep you if you wish to leave. But I want you to choose which door to go through based on your faith.
What does this have to do with us leaving?
Everything.
Oh,
I think that we're being studied.
this is good, bro. This is good, bro.
Hearts beat faster. It may even make you want to die. Do not be afraid. You will witness a miracle.
Okay. All right, dude. So, thoughts? What do you think, bruh?
Okay, my thoughts?
Yeah.
So first I would say, I think it actually looks like a really good thriller, to be honest. Kind of a cool premise.
Okay.
I'm very curious to see how they will, like, I didn't see anything in the trailer that seemed like anti-Mormon, the sister missionaries.
I was going to say, this is going to go one of two ways. Either they end up being really cool characters and a really cool thriller, or else they kind of hit all the garbage tropes that they're going to recycle.
Well, they're going to hit one trope. Well, I'm very curious to see how they portray them. In the trailer, though,
naive faithfulness.
That's where I was going to go with it. I think the perfect character to be sort of bamboozled is this innocent, idealistic little Mormon. And so there's this, the culture around us, and this is something that I actually take real issue with, and it's one of the reasons I engage in like debates and things, is because I can't stand this idea that we are naive when we have, in my opinion, sort of the pinnacle of philosophical strength within the Christian world. Like, we actually have a powerful theology. And so for people to look at us as Latter-day Saints kind of like, oh, you guys are kind of like those silly people. You know, you're nice and all, but you guys don't know what you're talking about. You know, kind of pat us on the head. And in my mind, it's like, bro, I could ask you questions that you would never have an answer for that we can answer because our theology is far richer and more interesting than yours. So stop patting me on the head and patronizing me. And that, I get the vibe from this movie that they're kind of playing on that. But outside of that, it seems like kind of a cool movie.
By the way, I will provide a little bit of pushback on you, Jacob. I think the stereotype you might not like that we're like this, but I do think the stereotype is somewhat justified.
Yep.
And I think it's somewhat good because if you go too far the other direction, then you just become deeply cynical about everyone and everything and just don't trust anything, and life has no magic. And I think that we do provide, we meaning members of the church or the church in general, provide a little bit of that, not naivete, but freshness and zest for life and other people.
Yeah, the world is
that
still magical in a way.
yeah, that people, but sometimes among some people it can be naive. So, and I don't, it's hard to tell if this movie is really going to lean into anything Latter-day Saint specific, or if just the fact of like how you have the plot device of somewhat reasonably getting these two girls into the situation, they just were kind of like, oh, Mormon missionaries, and then like that's how we can do the movie. If that was the thought process behind writing this, or if it started from the beginning of I want to play with some of the ideas in this religion, however they're going to end up executing it. So I'd be interested to see how that actually pans out in the movie.
Okay, well, here's something interesting. Minor prophet Ian Malcolm, who has yet to let us down, okay, says both actresses are self-proclaimed former members, so there's more likely an agenda to this, unfortunately.
Okay, so here's what I will say. My prediction, I'll make a prediction about the movie. I believe it will be a journey, because he said like there's
It'll be a journey away from faith and believing in yourself instead of a God.
Yes, essentially the typical kind of woke gospel that they'll preach, and it will be through sort of this thing where he challenges their faith and their belief, like because he had that thing of like you have to choose between faith or disbelief, and so obviously there's going to be a religious element to this. And in
which they don't lionize belief. We all know that they're not going to lionize belief. They might let it escape as a necessary evil in this world, but
I'm just thinking from a story perspective, though, like he comes across as very not sympathetic. Seems to be the way that the character is. Like this guy's all evil. And it would just seem weird from a story perspective to say, yeah, this evil dude, he actually had a really good idea that these nice, sweet young women needed to adopt.
No.
Story-wise, that seems
he's going to be religious. Odd. He's religious. Remember, this is going to be a story about two girls. And this is just my prediction. It's going to be about two girls encountering where their religious fanaticism takes people and it makes them evil. And then they will realize, hey, actually what we need to do is embrace our own authentic selves. And that is the real solution instead of going into this religious extremism that creates people like this monster.
That are wasting their lives doing stupid things like missions.
Exactly. That's my guess where it will go.
I think the red flag for the movie will be if it starts off and before they even get into this house, they set up the missionary sisters as like having this backstory of they're dealing with like some sort of trauma, and it becomes obvious that the way they're going to deal with this trauma, this backstory,
Luke,
that they're luggage that they're bringing in.
You have a future in Exmo storytelling in Hollywood, dude. Like that's exactly like the perfect Exmo movie.
Dude, that is funny. That is way
I don't want to
funny.
automatically ding it, though. There are still, like, honest actors and actresses out there, whether they've left the church or never were in the church or haven't, who do want to capture, like, an actual authentic experience of people and take themselves out of it. So I don't want to prejudge it.
Okay,
I don't want to prejudge it, but that would be kind of the red flag that I would look for in the first 15 minutes of this movie to see where it's going.
Yeah.
Okay, so who are they saying are I'm pulling up the IMDb right now of this movie. So here's the IMDb of the movie, and here's the top cast. There's Hugh Grant. We all recognize him. Sophie Thatcher is Sister
Barnes.
Sister Barnes. So
oh, dude. Somebody mentioned this in the comments, and I think they're right.
What?
We ought to like make predictions and like win prizes for it, because I'm going to make a prediction that there's some sort of a lesbian angle to this.
Oh, shut up. You think there's going to be a lesbian
Oh,
angle?
I totally think like, hold on. How many movies don't have some sort of a gay agenda in them nowadays? Like, do those exist anymore? And then if you have the sister missionaries, and I'm not saying even for each other, but maybe that trauma in the past, maybe it's something to do with that. And that sort of at the end, it comes full circle to, again, she's like, I need to embrace my authentic self because of, and so there's this contrast they create between this fanatical or naive religious religion.
Dogma. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
just naivety. Then it meets where it takes them if you follow the religion into this extreme craziness where you have all this demented sort of mentality in the guy. And then they come through this experience. And you know that the girls at the beginning, if they are naive believers, at the end, just for the story purposes, they're going to have some sort of an awakening or some sort of a transformation that they've gone through when they reach the end. And so when they reach the end, that transformation, they're not going to be the same. And what are the chances that at the end of it, it's like, oh, and then they realized that what they were doing as missionaries was important and right, and that's what really matters in life is faith in God.
Interesting. All right. Well, here they are. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how this pans out. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to see how this pans out. Does it end up being, what'd you call it? What the super chat say, like lesbian Ghostbusters or something, you know? Or does it end up being something a little bit more serious? Look, I hope springs eternal for me. And I'm hoping that it ends up being a serious expose in some of the difficulties of doubt, some of the beauty of faith that, you know, who knows, maybe they survive, but only through faith. I could see it degenerating into an absolute mess, but I could also see it.
I have been thinking about like how you would pull this off into like a good movie. I guess I could pro-Christian. Let's just say pro-Christian. Sometimes I want to be a little more nuanced and
But
it's okay if a story is not like completely. The Bible is true and like has that conclusion.
They won't
every
do it
time.
though, Luke. They won't do it because they're using Latter-day Saints. You can't make a pro-Christian movie if they want to sell to a Christian audience. You can't use Latter-day Saints as your example of the faithful.
This is A24 though. This isn't like Disney or Warner Brothers or something like that. It is A24. They are known for being a little more thought-provoking, a little more intelligent. I'm having a little fun here and just kind of game playing, okay, what would that more positive message look like? How would you construct this movie to kind of get that more positive message across? And I think what could be an interesting ending is in the trailer, he's talking about like the faith and the doubt, and you like go through each door depending on which one. It kind of seems like he has something like that set up. And I think it'd be really interesting if there's this place where he asks you to take a leap of faith, like kind of Indiana Jones style.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking the exact same thing. It could be a test of faith.
Him.
Yeah.
They know they can't trust him at all, but for whatever reason, and you'd obviously build this up through the story, but for whatever reason, she jumps into or she crawls into or she sticks her hand into the part that he's like trying to tell him to do it because, oh, if you're faithful, this is what you're going to do. And she does it and it actually works. But his plan all along was to get them to the point where they're not going to take that faithful route and go away. And then he can torture them with the fact, like reveal it later and say, oh, look, it would have worked, but you didn't do it. Darn, shucks for you. I guess that doesn't work out. You're dead now, you know? But then they actually do end up taking. And so he actually wasn't successful at psychologically torturing them into this position of doubt. So that would be an interesting way that you could pull off the story that I think we would find pretty satisfying.
I think the premise of the whole video is really fascinating because there are a bunch of different angles you could kind of take this. And I think, like, I actually think is interesting is that there's the belief and disbelief. I'm wondering if the two sisters go in different doors and then it sort of like follows their journey into like which one they chose. And anyway, I could see that playing into like the opportunity in this movie to make something really like thought-provoking and interesting, I think is super high. I just don't have a lot of, I don't know. I think it might be an interesting movie, but I think that the end message is going to be embrace being a lesbian, be your authentic self, and just to hell with all the rules.
Wow, I don't know if you're spot on.
An old white man bad.
An old white man bad.
Yeah. I don't know if you are spot on or just hyper cynical. Anyway, Daisy A says, honest actors don't work in Hollyweird. Oh, there's plenty of good ones. It's a little bit tougher than it has been in the past, but there's plenty of good ones, and the diversification of Hollywood has never allowed for more opportunities for honest actors, especially if they're willing to engage in the production of said film themselves. Like, we've never had more streaming platforms, more other places where good creative ideas can get made. For example, Sister Hairdresser. That one's getting greenlit pretty soon here. We've actually had some serious distribution conversations about that, written by David Howard, the author of Galaxy Quest. These are some good films that are going to get made, and there's never been more chances for good, honest actors. You just have to step up to the plate and do it. I'm a pro Hollywood guy. What do you say, Luke?
I know we normally don't read non-super chats, but some people have come up with really funny premises for this. Like, for example, that he's going to end up killing the sister missionaries by making them sit through a whole Mormon Stories podcast. Or he's going to torture them by making them read the CES letter.
Ooh, that's funny.
Now, that's a good movie.
I guess we're all going to have to go see, coming soon, Heretic. Is it an absolute anti-Mormon hole? Or is it, something cool written by the guys that wrote A Quiet Place? I don't know. We're going to keep you updated, and we're hopefully going to talk to somebody who saw an advanced screening of it. Maybe on Thursday. That'll be fun. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll keep the conversation going there. As always, for this and more, please make sure you check us out at WardRadio.